Hey everyone, it's Scott with BikeRide.com, and if you're in the market for a utility style e-bike, you've probably heard the name Rad Power bikes. Rightly so. They've been in the game since 2015, when the first Rad Power branded bike, the Rad Rover electric fat bike, was released. Now, with 9 different models to choose from, we're narrowing it down and taking a look at one specific bike, the Rad Runner 3 Plus. Truly a workhorse, the number of attachment points and accessories that you can match and choose from on the website is truly impressive. We had to choose a few and see what this utility style e-bike is really capable of. Rad Powers claims great range and peppy performance. It has a large 350-pound weight capacity that rounds out the specs, leaving us scrambling to pack up some gear and see just how far this bike can go. It's time to see if the Rad 3 Plus is up for the challenge, so let's go ride some bikes. So what is the Rad Runner 3 Plus? The Rad Runner 3 Plus is a well thought out utility bike with some great looks and considerable capability. The bike takes the utility aspect of its nature to heart, and Rad has a considerable host of accessories available for you to choose from to go along with the bike. Featuring a straight-backed riding stance with an easy-to-mount step-through design, it's highly approachable, and practically any user is going to be comfortable with the straight-backed riding stance and the BMX-style handlebars. The dual screens are also really easy to see, and they have a great set of laid out controls that offer simple functionality and easy sight for what they do. If I had no idea who you were or what you needed, but you wanted an e-bike recommendation, I would roll out something like the Rad Runner 3 Plus. It's a real all-rounder that's very easy to approach and ride. So let's get things started off with the pros. For our first pro, we've got some really nice high quality details. So Rad Powers does a great job offering a high quality product, and it starts with the box. A well-branded bike box greets the user with some really nice graphics and some ingenious packaging materials that I want to put light on. The use of cardboard inserts rather than foam and fabric ties rather than plastic was a really nice thing to see from a company, and it was great to see that they were doing things differently. When the bike was revealed, that same thoughtful design was evident. The bike is very nice to look at, and closer looks reveal a well thought out frame. It's robust with an integrated rear back that's capable of carrying 120 pounds. Easy battery removal, simple controls, and a bright dual screen display really round out the package. The charger is also a nice touch. It's well branded, and it's a standard 2-amp charger, but the included wall mount, both for the charging box and for the charging cable, is what really make it stand out. What a nice way to store the charger when it's not in use. I could go on, but the concept is that when you get the Rad Runner 3, you'll enjoy the small details that the brand has included. Plus, it comes with pretty much everything that you need, so it's very functional, and it's hard to imagine a consumer needing to add much to this bike from stock to get out and enjoy riding. Now, moving on to our second pro. The second pro is that the bike is just simple and very approachable. The Rad Runner is fun because it's easy to use. With a great step-through design, it's very convenient to get onto. And after you hop on, the well laid out cockpit with an easy to see and easy to use controls welcomes the rider. The straight back riding stance is comfortable, and the seat offers some very nice cushioning. So when you gut under power, you'll notice that the bike cruises very nicely. Despite the lack of rear suspension and a relatively short travel of only 60 millimeters on the front fork, the general geo of the bike does a great job eating up small bumps in the road. I was really pleasantly surprised while riding it how comfortable the bike is on rougher terrain such as gravel and dirt roads. The larger 3.3-inch tires float well in loose gravel and level out uneven paths. Other features like the easy to remove battery with a 10-bar indicator make the bike very approachable and ensure that you're having a good experience whether you're riding it or not. For our third pro, we've got good overall range. The bike offered a great range test and came back with a distance that was on par with the spec sheet from the brand. So it's always great to see a bike and a product that's able to stand behind the specs, and the Rad Runner went the distance, going over 30 miles on a single charge at that maximum assist level. So now, moving on to the cons. When it comes to our first con, we have the fact that the Rad Runner is heavy to lift and maneuver. We need to point out that the Rad Runner 3 features some heavy-duty construction and tires that can be considered fat or plus size at 3.3 inches. This results in a heavy package at 75 pounds, and with those wide tires, it needs a little extra room on the bike rack. And this needs to be taken into consideration by the main audience for this bike, which would be recreational riders, those looking to replace a car for cargo hauling, errands, and general commuting. The heavy overall size means it's going to be hard to get it upstairs or to lift vertically. While possible, it's not the easiest, and it should definitely be taken into consideration. Those large tires are also going to limit your options for bike racks, so commuters need to be careful and ensure that you have ample storage on both sides of your trip, as well as a bike rack that's going to accommodate these tires if you need to get a ride somewhere in the middle. For our second con, we've got an uncomfortable seat for longer rides. The Rad Runner seat has a peculiar feel beneath you. It tapers quickly from the front to the back into a wider stance, and the center of the saddle has a circular feeling somehow, almost as though you have a large plush ball in between your thighs. It's the best way I can describe it, but I found the seat getting in the way of my pedaling after a while, and I didn't enjoy it much. Luckily, you can swap this out on the Rad Runner 3, so it's not the end of the world. And for our third con, we've got a pretty noticeable change in assist as the battery level changes. So I do have to note that this is on the 500 watt Canadian model, and I have not tested the 750 watt model available in the US, but I noticed that during the range test, the display claimed the motor was still putting out the same 500 watts in the lower 30% of the battery range, but the bike was much slower to accelerate and climb hills than when it had over 70% charge on the battery. So you can really notice a difference in the pep and power, and it's pretty considerable notice, so it's a good feature because it allows you to go further at lower speeds, but it is noticeable when you're hitting a hill later on in the ride and the battery's lower and you're climbing it slower than you previously did. This is more something that we got to point out here, is that the Canadian market is stuck with a 500 watt motor. So this is not a mark against Rad Power, but more a note for Canadian customers. Due to government regulations, Canadian versions of the Rad Power 3 only have a 500 watt motor. So there's little the brand can do about this, but unfortunately, the 500 motor just doesn't perform quite as well on hills as the 700 watt motor that's available in the USA. So if you're in the US, you're one of the lucky ones and enjoy that extra wattage. So what does it do best? The Rad Runner 3 is a true workhorse. It's a tough utility bike that has the capability to carry a whopping 350 pounds of gear in a multitude of ways thanks to its many accessories and attachment points. So if you're looking to replace your car with a bike, the Rad Runner 3 is definitely the style that you're going to be looking for. It's got a great range for all-day riding, and with some of the accessories, you can really start to tap into that battery to charge items, or you can even double the range with the soon-to-be-released second battery kit for the unit. The sky is really the limit. The bike will do great for a range of riders, from recreational weekenders to daily commuters who need to carry lots of gear. So keeping that in mind, who should buy this bike? Whether you're riding for fun or for utility, the Rad Runner 3 is a solid choice. It offers a comfortable straight-backed riding stance with a simple step-through frame, so anyone who is interested in that style of bike will not be disappointed with the Rad Runner 3. So it really checks a lot of boxes. Recreational riders, some commuters, and those looking to ditch a car can come together with one bike in mind. So what are some reasons to look elsewhere? The two key reasons to not choose this bike are its weight and size at 75 pounds, and if that straight-backed riding stance just is not your cup of tea. It's a fat tire bike with a moped kind of vibe, so riders who are after a traditional thin tire athletic stance bike will not be a great fit. Likewise, those who need to transport the bike indoors, who go into elevators, upstairs, or into other tight spots will find that it's a bit of a challenge. It's 75 pounds and not a small bike, While not as long as some other utility bikes that we see, it's no mini bike and it's not going to fit into those super tight spaces. Moving on to the frame and the geometry. We have a wonderful looking and a highly functional frame on the Rad Runner 3. It features a very low standover height and easy mounting with that deep step through. And the center of the frame can also easily accommodate one of the cool center consoles from Rad. So the battery is also wonderfully placed, and its partial integration into the frame makes for a clean look and very easy access. Moving towards the rear of the frame, they've managed to give this bike an excellent cargo capacity, creating a robust frame with some nicely connected tubing and a fully integrated rear rack. That rear rack can accommodate 120 pounds, so you can easily have a second person or a ton of gear along for the ride. I was impressed with how robust and easy to approach the Rad Runner is, looking at the motor on this unit. Our acceleration test, we got a pretty good speed for a 500 watt motor, getting from 0 to 20 in approximately 8 seconds on pedal assist 5 and managing to do that in 15 seconds with throttle only. For this bike, we put it through a new series of 3 different hill climbs, with our shortest occupying a total distance of 0.93 miles. It completed that in 3 minutes 9 seconds for a total climbing of 69 feet, a max grade of 6%, and average speed of 18 miles per hour. The second hill climb was 2 minutes and 39 seconds long. It completed 0.55 miles with an elevation gain of 203 feet and a max grade of 16%, and it did that at 12.6 miles an hour. For our final hill climb, we have a total time of 4 minutes 44 seconds with a distance of 0.61 miles and an elevation gain of 413 feet with a max grade of 20%, and it managed to complete that at an average speed of 8 miles per hour. Now for the cockpit and controls. The first look into the cockpit revealed not one, but 2 control screens displaying information, with a 1.5-inch secondary LCD screen showing your current assist level and battery level, and a larger center LCD screen providing you with information about your current speed, trip, and time. The small control pad is well marked, and the buttons are nice and clicky. Tektro hydraulic levers are pleasant for braking and a nice choice on the bike. Rounding out the cockpit, we have some less expensive faux leather grips. These are not locking and they can twist, which is not my favorite. And then finally, we have a budget Shimano SL TX50 thumb shifter. Now to talk about the battery. We've got a 48 volt, 672 watt hour battery, which may not seem like the largest on paper, but after it threw down a range test matching the company's specs with over 30 miles at 20 miles per hour, it was a different story. It's a great range that could easily be extended by lowering the assist level, something that's made easier because this bike is actually fairly pedal efficient. So the battery uses some good cells with either Samsung or LG, depending on the current sourcing. So for that range test, we managed to get 30.46 miles with a total time of 1 hour and 50 minutes and an elevation gain of 1,358 feet. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the charger, battery removal, and keys. The included 48 volt 2 amp charger is nothing special in terms of performance. It's a pretty standard issue item with many brands offering 2 amp chargers. It's capable of charging the battery fully in approximately 6 hours. It's similar in performance, but the big difference with this charger is the branding and the added functionality that Rad Power has given it. So they've given it a great color, and they've also included a nicely integrated wall mount for not only the charger, but also the cord. So it's a great touch to keep your garage or bike room a little neater. Charging and key access are also quite simple on the bike. Sporting a partially integrated battery, it's easy to spot, but it still works with the aesthetics of the bike and looks great. The key access and charging point are right next to each other at the top, easy to find and easy to use. After turning the key, the battery pops right out, and it's easy to remove and insert even with the attached center console. Plus, if you want to charge while it's on the bike, just pop off the rubber cap of the charge port and plug it in. Moving on to the drivetrain. We have a 1x7 Shimano drivetrain, which really is nothing special, but it's well matched to the bike's capability with an 11 to 34 tooth rear freewheel. The bike only has a small amount of ghost pedaling at top speed, so it's quite pleasant and the gearing is a fine choice. The Shimano thumb style shifter is a budget item, but it's functional and easy to use. Combined, this is a pretty basic drivetrain on the bike, but with some nice features in other locations, it's perfectly functional, so it's not going to get any complaints from me. I'm a big fan of the Tektro HD E350 brakes. I find them powerful and responsive, with a very nice lever feel. The 180mm rotors are well matched to the size of the bike, and combined with the larger tires, it brings the bike to a quick stop. I'm happy to see a nice braking setup on this bike, and it goes a long way to making this bike feel well controlled at speed or when it's loaded with cargo. With a max limit of 350 pounds, it's essential. So this is a big plus for the bike, and it was very needed. So every time I went to go slow down, I was very happy to be using these Tektro brakes. We managed to get a braking distance with this bike of 18 feet. Looking at the wheels and tires, we've got something that you don't see on every bike. Rad Powers has gone the extra mile and collaborated with Kenda to have a custom bike tire made. Dubbed the Kenda Custom K-Rad, it's a fat tire 20-inch by 3.3-inch tire, sporting a checkered pattern that works great on pavement and other mixed surfaces. The bike's performance over bumpy ground or rough terrain like gravel, sand, and dirt roads was impressive. With no rear suspension, items like the tires are really working hard, and these offered good bump resistance and nice float over loose gravel. On the pavement, they accelerated well and offer pleasant ride quality. Carving into corners in a wide arc you would expect from a plus side wheel, it's fairly confident at a top speed. Moving forward to the safety features. The Rad Runner 3 features a front 100 lumen headlight and a rear brake light. The brake light is controlled by the brake levers and also illuminates for visibility when the lights are turned on. The bike also features reflective halos on each side of the tires to increase nighttime visibility. Rounding out safety features, we have a good set of Tektro brakes and motor inhibitors on each brake lever to ensure power is cut to the motor the moment that you choose to stop. Looking at the kickstand, we have a pretty typical single-sided kickstand on the Rad Runner, and it works just fine and is a nice companion to hold up the bike. Finally, coming to the contact points, we've got a set of faux leather grips, which are definitely not my favorite. While they are comfortable enough, I find the fact that they can slip up and down annoying and would prefer something locking. Moving forward to the seat, it's an apparent upgrade from the original Rad Runner seat, and it features more padding and traditional seat rails. This means you can adjust it and swap it out for another seat post or for the suspension seat post from Rad. So I found that this seat was very plush, but it also has a bit of an odd shape. The only way I can describe it is it's like having a softball between your legs. There was a strange circular pressure and slope to the seat towards the center that I'm just not accustomed to. And while it was not overly uncomfortable, I found I was constantly searching for a good seating position, moving forward and backwards to try to get comfortable over time. And then we have the pedals, which are just a flat set of unbranded plastic pedals. They're perfectly functional and they offer a nice large platform, so there's really no problem here. Moving on to the accessories, Rad Runner has an impressive, if not overwhelming, amount of accessories that you can put on this bike, not to mention the other bikes that they offer. Go check out the site and see for yourself, because they have just about everything you could ever need to go along with your new bike. And you can basically put anything you want on or behind it. I mean, we're talking racks, trailers, passenger seats, and so much more. So we got to try out two of the accessories, one of them being the pannier bag and the center console. The pannier bags are great, made from a durable material. They have sturdy attachment points that match up perfectly with the bike. It was easy to install and remove from the bike, so it can be brought with you when you're parked. But they also feel very secure and safe when you're in motion and they're on the bike. So I love the roll-up top, and the capacity was great. It even has a little Velcro tool bag inside for your gadgets and tools, so it's a really great way to increase your carrying capacity while protecting your gear from the elements in a pretty traditional way. And for our second accessory, we have the Rad Runner center console. Now this center console fits perfectly in that slot in the frame on the Rad Runner 3, and the only thing that you're really missing out on by adding this is the fact that you can no longer step through the frame. So you're gonna have to swing your leg over the back to get on, but you're also adding some really valuable cargo space. So I enjoyed the simplicity of this little container. It's very simple to install on the bike. On the Rad Runner 3, it only requires one spin to put it on, and it's quite easy to line up. And once it's on, there's no real easy way for a thief to get this off other than breaking the whole unit. And it's gonna be pretty secure, so you could keep some valuables in there, and it's gonna really keep them secured from the weather. So I'm a big fan of this, and combined with that rear pannier rack, it really turns this unit into a very capable commuting bike. You could even throw an additional bag on the back on that rack, or get another accessory and toss it on this guy. So some pretty cool accessories from Rad Runner for the Rad Runner 3, and there are just endless combinations of how you could set up this bike. So Rad Power has done a great job with the Rad Runner 3 Plus, and it's a package I can see tons of consumers loving. With something for almost everyone, the Plus really packs in the value, and it's great to see so many ways that you can customize the bike. It's a bike that's easy to use and does its job well. With tons of different ways to utilize it, the Rad Runner 3 is a great example of a fat tire utility bike that can have fun or get to work, all while looking great. Is this bike for you? Check out the detailed specs at bikeride.com and see user and expert reviews. You can also check out other great e-bikes and see them rated to find your perfect match. Do you have a question or something you want to say? Let me know in the comments and we'll start getting you some answers. And if you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can keep on bringing you the latest e-bike reviews and news. I'm Scott with bikeride.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the ride.